Ryan Rolison. Going with Rollo today. Second pitcher, both left-handers, ironically. Should be fun. Should be fun with Rollo. He's known as kind of a funny guy. Number 2 prospect for the Rockies. First rounder in 2018. I am outside, and if you are in Oxford, I'm getting rained on pretty hard. Hopefully we don't get any lightning. Otherwise, I'm going to have to move it inside. Really hard for me to tell if Rollo will be punctual or not, or punctual. He's left-handed. Hard to tell. John Deere, yes, John Deere hat. Rollo, I need you to request to go live with me. Otherwise, you could bring Hayden Dunhurst on. People might like that a little better. Similar arm strength to Rolison. Who else we got on here? Scott Wyatt. Anthony Servideo. I don't know if that's Be Real Ant or not. Rollo, there's a chance he's doing his hair too. Hard to tell. Can't be big leaguing me. He's not in the big leagues yet. Guess we'll just wait. Me and 70 of my friends. Promise you it'd be a lot more fun if Rollo was on here. Make fun of him. Hope everybody saw the picture. The picture that I put on Twitter today of Rollo, a young Rollo. I'm going to guess 12, 13 years old, somewhere in there. Stokes is here. Stokes, need a new hat, TK. TK can go fly a kite. Will Stokes, Old Timers Day, one of my favorite Rebels ever. Unbelievable teammate. Cooper Johnson. Oh, Doug Nikhazy. We got Rhino Linick. We have an all-star group here. We are missing Rollo. Which incidentally, and we're going to talk about this, Rollo's on here making comments on a chat he's supposed to. Says you're unable to join. You requested and you're unable to join. Let's try this again. Ryan Rolison is unable to join. Rollo. Let's try this again. Add Ryan Rolison. Looks like you. Left-handed pitcher. Boom. Ryan Rolison is unable to join. This is where we have some trouble because I don't have Instagram, and if this doesn't Rollo, it says you are unable to join. Are you like locking me out here or what? We move on to Stokes. We go Cooper Johnson, round 2. TK, round 2. Rollo, it keeps saying you're unable to join. This is a tough deal. James MacArthur. Oh, man. Got the heavy hitters here too. Somehow Rollo can't figure it out. Man, Rollo could use some help. Somebody help him out. By far the 2 best left-handed pitchers since I have coached here. Rollo and Nikhazy, both on here. Waiting for Ryan Rolison. We may have connection here. What
Let's
were
go.
you doing wrong?
I'm not sure. The request thing wasn't popping up, so I don't know. It's just I don't know.
All right. Well, here we are. Where are you right now?
I'm at home. You know, check out
Jackson?
yeah. We got some wheat back here.
Oh, it looks beautiful there. It's raining hard in Oxford.
Well, doesn't look like it's coming here. Hopefully not.
Probably not. Rolo, well, I tell everybody this. I know you've asked some questions with some other players on here. You've probably hopped on, hopped off, kind of know what's going on. I think this is like the 8th or 9th guy. Just like to have a little chat. What's in the glass there?
It's just water, man.
All
Water.
right. Good. Well, I wasn't insinuating anything. I just wanted to know what was in there.
Right.
Don't give me any the Rocky Mountain News, like some dude from Denver is interviewing you. Don't give me any canned answers. I need it right from the heart. It's Clem and Rolo talking. We're just talking with a couple hundred of our best friends. And some of your former Ole Miss teammates will probably hop on and pop off to you a little bit, but that's some of the fun of it. We're going to take this backwards today. Typically, I go like from the recruiting process to present day, but we have some great stories from the recruiting process, and I want to kind of save those maybe to the back half of this thing. So, for those of you who don't know, I mean, I think everybody knows, Rolo, first rounder in 2018. What pick? 22nd?
22nd.
22nd pick of the draft, Colorado Rockies. Obviously signs at that point as a draft-eligible sophomore. We'll get into that a little bit about how tough that was with, like, even last year watching guys you came in with and all that. But I want to start – you go to big league spring training this year, right, for the first time? Yep. Take me through how big league spring training was. Did you get to throw in any games, or did it get banged before that? Kind of take us through your first experience in a big league locker room, even though it was in the spring training setting.
Yeah. So when I got to Scottsdale, like the big league locker room is on like another end of the minor league one. So that hallway is pretty much a no unless you're in the big league. So finally getting to walk down that hall was pretty cool. And then
so you got to hang a left instead of hang a right, and you like
well,
that.
I got to hang a right instead of just going straight down to the back.
Gotcha.
So I walk in, and I don't know, this locker room's just like not like a small one that all the guys are just crammed into. When I walk in and I look to my left, and Nolan Arenado and all of the guys that I've watched on TV are sitting in the locker room. It was that was the surreal moment, like for me, just to see all those name tags and see like guys with their locker, and I'm over here squished in the corner. So I mean that part was just awesome, just walking in there and with that, and then I got to pitch at the Cubs place my first time. It was at the Cubs, and I came in the 3rd and 4th inning, and did pretty well. And then my next outing, I threw 1 inning against the Angels at home. And then they sent me back down right after the minor league spring training was about to start.
Okay, so you went back to the minor league side, which you knew, like that. Yeah. It's not like getting sent down. You knew it's more of a reward for how good you are and how well you've thrown for them in the minor leagues. You knew you were going back down at some point, so you got sent back down before you got sent home. You guys all got sent home.
Yeah. So the minor league spring training, I think there were like 3 days out, and so they sent all the guys basically that were minor league invites that didn't have a chance to make the team back down because they were trying to make cuts and all of that. So
sure.
They sent me back down, and I think that next day is when we all got sent home for the pandemic.
Any idea where you would have started out?
They told me AA in Hartford.
Okay. Awesome. Didn't have to go back to the California League.
No, I spent my time there.
Yeah,
for sure.
Time served. For those of you who don't know, Lancaster, California, correct?
Lancaster.
It's like the and this is like no joke. It's the best hitting minor league park in all of minor league baseball. Something like that. Like I think that's like a real thing. Is that correct?
If it's not the first, it's the second, and our AAA is the first. So.
Oh, great. So the goal should be to go from AA to the big leagues, right?
Essentially, yes.
Easier said than done. Easy for old Coach Clem to say.
Right.
Pretty cool experience pitching in big league games.
It was
Nervous?
nervous. I mean, we got to the Cubs stadium, and I looked to my left, and John Lester was pitching that day, and just seeing him like pitch ever since I was young, like coming up, and I looked to my left, and he's like warming up, and I see Javi Baez, Rizzo, all those guys warming up, and I literally stopped in center field and just did like a 360 of the place, just trying to soak it all in. So that was the coolest experience so far.
Pretty cool. Have you heard from your agent or the Rockies? Have you heard anything moving forward? What the rest of the summer looks like for you? Because I've heard, and again, now this is just stuff I've read, where if the big leagues happen, which sounds like a big if at this point,
Right.
but the minor league season doesn't happen, that they may expand the rosters to like 50 guys or something like that. And you were one of the first guys I thought of, just because obviously a high prospect. And if they expand rosters, have you heard anything to that?
Yeah, I've heard the expanded rosters, and then I've heard of the taxi squad, and the things that I was hearing, that I would have a pretty good chance to be on that taxi squad. So if they're able to figure something out, I think my chances are pretty good there. But then on the minor league side, I think they're waiting, obviously, to figure out what the big league's going to do, and then go from there with us. So
sure.
Just a waiting pattern right now.
What, like day to day, what are you doing now?
Been playing a lot of golf, working out, throwing my dad in the backyard. That's about it.
Gary's throwing with you.
Yeah.
Take me through, give me a little bit on Gary's arm strength. Like, is it bouncing to you? Like when you have to stretch it out, how is he? Good arm action? Like what do you got?
No, he was an athlete back in the day. He's got decent arm action. The strength has really plummeted, but so when we get back to like 30 yards, it's usually a two hopper, and then we just set out balls. Like we have a bucket, and we'll just set out like 5 balls at each 5-yard line. So that way, when I throw it in, he just catches it and puts it in the bucket, so he doesn't have to wear out his arm. But
good for him. Are you throwing pins? He's not catching bullpens, is he?
No, I haven't been off the mound yet. I'm just trying to pace it out because I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to know. Yeah, no reason to get off the mound if you don't know when the end is in sight.
Right.
Well, that's good. Good for your dad, man. I hope you're taking care of your old man.
Yeah, I am, for sure. You know me.
Right. All right. So let's get to what everybody wants. Let's go back to your Ole Miss days. 2 years. I kind of hinted at this question earlier, and I think you and I have probably talked about this at some point. You're a draft eligible sophomore. So just to give everyone a quick rundown on this, typically guys are not eligible to get drafted until after their junior year. And so they're 3 years at a 4-year college, and then they can get drafted unless you turn 21 within about a month of the draft. And so you're a little older for your grade. You fell within that window, obviously got drafted. And I'm not saying, was it a tough decision? You got drafted in the first round. I think we would have, if you would have said, hey, I want to come back, we would have said no. Like, you have to sign. When you get drafted in the first round, all of that and everything that comes with that financially. But that's not necessarily my question. My question is, how tough was it, like last year, watching your class, which was a great class, as far as Coop and Gray and Thomas and Etheridge, Zebo, all those guys you came in with, Roth, play their third year? Because I remember talking to you even as a sophomore when you knew you were going to get drafted in the first round and you knew you were going to sign. I remember you saying, like, I don't know if you used the words "it's not fair," but I remember it being tough on you, especially at that time. Like, man, I only got 2 years here. We're going to be good again next year. All those things. Kind of take me through you being off playing pro ball, which I know you love, but having to watch guys that you came in with play another year of college. Is that tough?
Yeah, it was. Just coming in with that class and, in high school playing all those tournaments with all the same guys that you play with in college. And then there's only a handful of guys that, are sophomore eligible. And so it was just kind of having to leave after 2 years with the class that you came in with, and really just bonding together through those 2 years. And then for me, it was just like the unexpected of what pro ball was like. And I was going into it, basically by myself, with the guys that I've always played with not being, drafted with me or, figuring it out like that. So that was the biggest adjustment for me. And then being in spring training, and I'm going to the yard at like 6 and I get done at like noon, and I'm logging in to, watch you guys play. And it's my best friends out there. It was just it was tough to see, but just how the cookie crumbled.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like you went off and are eating ketchup sandwiches. You definitely made the right choice. It wasn't even a choice. You did what you needed to do at Ole Miss, personally, and it was pretty sweet. All right, so we got some good stories. First of all, obviously I sent out the low blow, but I've had that picture and I've sat on that picture for a long time. You knew I had it. I may, in fact, have gotten it from you. There were a couple other in my camera roll that I think were a little more damning than the one I sent out. So if people haven't seen, you can check out the Twitter. I don't have Instagram, but you can check out the Twitter. Rolo, how old are you in that picture?
I think I'm 10 or 11. I mean, 10 or 11, I think. I'm not sure.
10 or 11, and I'm trying to think the adjective I would use. Husky. I mean, you're
husky's a good word, but a better word is the 38 husky on the bottoms. I mean,
wow.
yeah. I mean, the guy probably wear a 30, a 32, and mom and dad put me in a 38 husky pleated.
At what point? Now, all right. In all honesty, I went through the same thing. I think middle school. I was a big fella. My mom would, if she were on this call, would say that. But at what point did you start to not be the 38 husky?
Can we go back to the husky part real quick?
Yeah, sure.
I know my parents probably don't want to hear this, but at some point it's bad parenting. I mean, when you see a guy like he's on his way down that path and we're feeding him Little Debbie zebra cakes. I mean, at some point we got to mix in a salad, or point him at least in that right direction.
Wait, so you're saying your parents continued to allow Little Debbie's to run wild in the house?
Yes, my mom was bringing in loads of them weekly, and friends that would come over would call it the snack house because I mean we got Coke, vanilla Coke, DPs, I mean all of it, and I think I slipped down the slippery slope there.
Well, it must have been really slippery. How did we get out of it? How did we come out the other side?
I hit my growth spurt and like in between sophomore year and junior year of high school. But the middle school days were rough, man. I mean, I can't stress to you enough how tough those were. But that's a different story. But I think probably junior year is when I finally dug out of the hole and realized that, what I wanted to do and, kind of took it serious in the weight room and got serious about what I wanted to do.
Okay. Well, that leads us perfectly into a few stories about your recruitment to the Rebels. You still, yeah, you're good. Okay. Okay. So I get the job at Ole Miss and the summer of 2014, which I believe is in between your sophomore and junior year. The first person that last sends me to go see is Cole Zabowski. So I go watch Zebo play. Zebo was good. Obviously, I said, "Hey, love him. Let's recruit him." We get Zebo. The other guy we talked about really early on, which I told the story when he was on here, is Coop because I was recruiting him at Kansas State. We'll talk about your relationship with him here in a little bit too. But he also said, "Hey, I'm going to offer this kid a scholarship that's playing for the Memphis Tigers, left-handed pitcher. I have to go watch this other pitcher. I already know I'm going to offer him, but I want you to go over there just so he sees that Ole Miss is there." And I was like, "Yeah, no problem, man. I'll go over there and watch him pitch." So that's the background of this. I go watch you pitch. So this is the summer in between your sophomore and junior year. Laugh has already decided in his mind that he wants to offer you a scholarship. You've heard this story a million times, but most people on here haven't, with the exception of your old teammates. I watch you pitch. You are throwing 80 to 84 miles an hour. Top end 84, like touching 84 like you would touch a 94. But it's an 84. You're pitching at 80, 81. Get done watching you, and I'm like, wow, man, I just took a job in the SEC, and this 80, 81 is what we're going after here? I call Laugh. And Rolo, I tried to talk him out of it. I was like, hey, we can find guys that are better than this. Like, yeah, it looks good.
What was my appearance like on the mound? I mean,
it was, in your defense, it was good. Actually, that one, I don't remember quite as well. I'm going to get to the next one. Laugh, to his credit, and I give him a ton of credit, is like, I don't care what you say. If it were a hitter, I would listen to you. It's a pitcher. I work with the pitchers. I'm going after him. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, whatever. The first visit I'm ever with, like a family coming to campus, is you and your mom. And so I'm kind of trying to learn the lay of the land as Laugh walks around and says all the words, which you know, he said all the words. And in the back of my mind, I'm just listening to Laugh, and I'm like, this kid's never going to make it. Like, never going to make it here. He throws 80 miles an hour. And, of course, he offers you a scholarship. Of course, you accept it because you don't have any other scholarship offers. There's no doubt.
Slim.
And in my mind, I'm like, this ain't going to work. In fact, you guys then, that fall, the fall of your junior year, come to Swayze. And it's a Sunday morning, and Coach B goes to Mass, and we ask Kerry Sweeney, hey, can you throw Rolison first? So, and in our mind, it was so Coach B wouldn't see you throw, because if it was going to be 80-81, he wasn't going to be happy either.
That'd be a meeting after the outing.
At this point, you're already committed to us. And, of course, it's 80-81, and I do remember that outing. 6 outs, 6 up, 6 down, like 3 punch outs, 3 ground outs. You must have thrown 25 pitches total. And so I remember at that point thinking, well, he can pitch, but there's no way when he gets to college. And at that point, it was like 82, 80, touch a couple 85s. But that's still, we're a far cry from what SEC baseball is all about. Our season goes on, the 2015 season. So now fast forward like 8 months. We lose in UCLA's regional, and the first thing I go out and do recruiting-wise is go to the Sun Belt tournament, because we have a ton of guys playing for Team Mississippi. You're playing for Team Tennessee. Zip over and watch you pitch, and it is 87-92, and I call Laugh and like, he's not going to make it to school. He's like, what do you mean not make it to school? He's not good still? And I was like, oh, no, he's throwing way too hard. So something happened during your junior year of high school where you went from, like, you jumped like 8 or 9 miles an hour, at least when I saw you. Is that accurate?
That's fair. And wow. I think it just, like, for me, it was like actually lifting weights and being active and not playing Modern Warfare 2 all the time, and, you know, crushing as many calories as my body can take, and like doing something. And I started long tossing, and started just taking it serious. Me and my dad did a bunch of research on long toss and, you know, pull downs and all of that, and got serious about that. And then from there, it hit me all at once, with me lifting weights, me long tossing, and then me growing up a little bit.
Well,
and maturing.
Yeah. I don't know if it was the lack of Little Debbie's, if it was the long tossing, if it was Gary doing some research. The combination of whatever it was worked out pretty good. Laying down the, what do you guys call it, the sticks?
The sticks.
Yeah, laying down the sticks and getting after it physically.
Very good comment, Sims. Modern Warfare 2 is the best game ever made.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's all foreign to me.
It is to
So,
me now, but
all right, let's move forward and let's move into your freshman year. You show up, and I think people probably really remember your sophomore year. What people don't remember um, is that you started out in the bullpen as a freshman. You ended up being a freshman All-American. You had a terrific year. Like, I don't want to give the wrong impression here, but you start out in the bullpen, and you have to earn your way into the weekend rotation, which you do, as I recall, and have a great year. We were really bad offensively in 2017, but you had a really, really good year. Um, take us through take us through the process once you got on campus, as far as when did you believe, like, all right, I'm a guy? Did it take until the Cape, which we'll tell the Cape story here in a second, but I guess take us through your freshman year.
coming to campus after going through kind of the draft process out of high school, coming in and knowing that I could be an impact to the team right away. But then, as we all know, the inter squads were kind of my kryptonite. So I come out there and I'm like, dude, I don't know if I can do this. Like, I'm out there. I remember some outings. I don't even know if I'm going to get an out. Tate
Yeah.
Blackman first pitch just in the bullpen. I mean, it was just over and over. But and then finally got started throwing better, and then just finally got that confidence back that I needed, and then realized that it's fight or flight now. So you got to be the guy, and I just looked within, and then started doing better. Started off in the pen for the first couple weeks, and then got a chance at midweek. Did well on my midweek starts. Got a chance on Sunday. Through I think 2 or 3 weekends in a row on Sunday. Did pretty good. And then I remember against Missouri, I think it was, David Parkinson was sick, and so I had to spot start. I thought I was throwing Sunday. I get a call from Coach B that morning saying, "Hey, you got to go today." So I get bumped up a day. Saturday, I think one of my best outings, ended up staying in the Saturday spot for the rest of the year, and then took a couple weeks off and went up to the Cape Cod League.
Yeah. And I like part of what you said in there, I think is important in your story, because like what people don't realize is that you weren't always the most confident guy. And especially as a freshman, I remember multiple times having conversations with you, and I felt like I could, because I wasn't directly involved in coaching. I was there, but I'm coaching the hitters and you're a pitcher, and we had a pretty unique relationship that way, to where we talked about some of those types of things. But the thing that always impressed me about you is that I can remember times in the fall talking to you and it not being easy for you. You wondering, as big of a prospect as you were, you and Coop played on that 18U Team USA and went overseas, all that stuff. But with all of that said, you got a ton of draft attention. You weren't always the most, like, you wondered, like, hey, do I belong here? Can I have success here? Am I as good as what everybody said? What did it take? Do you think it was just self-talk, like you said, like, hey, I just decided, like, hey, I'm done tiptoeing around. I am good enough. Like, what happened with you? Or was it just success? And as you had success, you got more confident. What was it?
I think it was both. It was kind of both. Both talks with you and Coach Laff. I remember going out to dinner with Coach Laff and talking about these things, and he's like, man, if you want to be a dude here, man, you can't ride the ups and downs of, you got to have, I mean, an ace is a guy that takes the ball every Friday night, that goes out there and has the mindset that he's going 9 innings. He's going to, shove it. And so that's just really what it took for me, is those conversations. And then finally learning what it took to get those guys out, like pitch sequence and all of that stuff. And I remember after my freshman year having a meeting with Coach B, him saying, we need to get you a better breaking ball, because your breaking ball, the numbers on it are good. It's just getting hit, too much. And so that's one thing I worked on when I took 2 weeks off before I went to the Cape Cod League. I got a good feel for a tighter slider slurve action. And really that was the make or break for me, was having that in the same tunnel, and took off from there.
Yeah, that's where I want to go next, real quick. Talk about that summer in between your freshman and sophomore year. I just remember from my standpoint, you went and played in Orleans in the Cape Cod League for Kelly Nicholson, who's one of my good friends, obviously, or you know that. And I remember just getting calls like once a week from Coach Nick and him being like, "Hey, this guy is like unbelievable. Like, no one can touch him up here." And I wasn't surprised necessarily because it doesn't like your stuff was so good even as a freshman. And again, but he kept saying like, "Hey, you realize like he's going to be one of the first 2 or 3 left-handers to get picked in the draft next year." I was like, "Oh, come on." He's like, "Coach, like he's ridiculous." And so you think it was just more of the same. You go up there, you're working on the breaking ball, maybe a little more relaxed environment to where you can just go attack and you don't have to worry about the failure as much. And it's not everything is riding on a pitch. Just take us a little bit through the Cape of just chewing through the best players in America.
Yeah.
I think you were named the number 1 prospect in the Cape that summer, right?
What? And
yeah.
Taking those 2 weeks off, looking back, were huge for me, just to give my body a rest for a little bit after that season, and really thinking about what I wanted to do, because I knew that summer was huge for me. Obviously, being a draft eligible sophomore, that was a big summer, and honing in on the things that I needed to improve on. And the biggest thing for me was the breaking ball, getting it tighter and getting it out of that same window where hitters can't pick it up as well.
Yeah.
And really, other than that, I was throwing guys in most to the righties, throwing glove side. Just knowing with the wood bat, if I'm able to get in there and establish that part of the plate, then it kind of opened up the rest of my pitches away. And so that's one thing that, I was doing. I was starting guys in, and then they were up there just, we don't know if he's going to come back in, if he's going to throw a breaking ball. So that's one thing that kind of set that summer apart, was me able to throw in glove side consistently along with that tight breaking ball.
Yeah. That was fun to get reports of that. And then obviously you come back for your sophomore year, and you're our ace, Friday night guy on one of the best, tied for the most wins in the school's history with 48 wins. And obviously we have a really special year. We don't have to revisit the end of that thing. But man, you had a special year that year. And I just remember thinking, we joked about it, you and I did this off season, if teams didn't get to you in the first inning, man, it seemed like you look up, and I remember getting the box scores from Sims and like looking at it in my locker and being like, holy crap, he struck out 12. And it's just one of those things where you don't even realize it. Like, if they did not get to you early on, man, you were really, really good. And obviously the rest is history as far as the draft and all that goes. But I can remember also, you went through, and I think that was the maturity part of it. You went through a couple outings where you didn't throw as well, even your sophomore year, even though you had ridiculous numbers, struck out like 120 guys or something like that in 100 innings or whatever it was. It was ridiculous. But you had a couple outings that I remember. But I think the difference between you and I think the growth that you made from your freshman to sophomore year, and that's why I've asked a ton of questions about it, was, man, you never had 2 bad outings in a row, and rarely had 2 bad innings in a row, to where you just figured out, I guess, like how to shut it down. Like, hey, they're not going to score again, or whatever it was. Is that true? I mean, is that what it was?
I mean, like you said, like in the box score, is usually like the first or second inning that I wasn't as sharp. I didn't come out of the pen as sharp, and they were able to get to me for a few runs. But credits to the offense there. I mean, when you give up 2 runs and then your guys behind you get 4, it's easier to go back out there and, pitch and hold the lead rather than, okay, now we're down 2-0. I hope my offense comes back, So it was just that offense was insane. The guys that we had, they're obviously behind me defensively was really good all year too. And I remember talking to you after the South Carolina outing, my worst outing like of the year by far. Probably came at the worst time it could have. But I remember you coming up to me and you said, when is enough for you? And that's kind of when it flipped the switch. And the rest of the year, it was like I had that mentality on the mound that that I needed.
Yep. Yep. I think one of my favorite, and it gets replayed a ton around here. One of my favorite outings of yours was the SEC championship game. And I think the cool thing about that, Rolo, that you probably don't get enough credit for is that having coached in this league for 6 years, you always hear the stories in the coaching circles of some of the first round arms are a little more diva-ish. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey, if I throw on Friday and it's a Thursday through Saturday series next weekend, I want to stay on my normal rest and all of that. And so not only are you not on your normal rest, you start earlier in the week, obviously in the SEC tournament. And I don't even remember which game you started. Who were
Game one
playing.
against Auburn.
Okay, so you start game one, which was a Wednesday against
Because we had
Auburn.
the bye Tuesday, right?
Yep. So we're the 2 seed. And I think what people don't, I mean, everyone remembers you coming in a huge situation against LSU in the championship game, and we make an error behind you, and it's a tight spot, and you go punch out, and I think at the time we're up 3-1, but they have the bases loaded and either no outs or 1 out because we had made an error behind you. You maybe walked a guy, but anyway, it's a tight spot, and you go punch out. And then we end up scoring a couple runs. Golston gets the big base hit, and it's 5-1, and then we run away from them. But I think the cool thing of that situation is that what people don't realize is if you didn't want to go out there, there was no chance Coach B is going to put you out there. Like, that was completely your decision. Obviously, we knew where you were at. We knew you were going to be a first rounder in another week and a half. And so for you to be like, no, I want the ball, that sounds super obvious to, like, as we sit here and talk about it 2 years later. And of course I want the ball. I'm a competitor and all that, but I've seen it a ton of times where guys don't want the ball, where hey, I just want to get my normal rest. If I get hurt right now, I'm costing myself X amount of dollars and all of this. And that was never even a thought in your mind. And I think that's where you gained a ton of respect. Not that you didn't have it before, but like, not only from your teammates, but our coaching staff and all of that, of you just saying, of course I want it. Wasn't even an option for you. Like, hey, if we're in this game, and Coach said, I'm not doing it if we don't have a lead. And we did. We had a lead, and we needed you for an inning, and you went in there and got your outs, and it worked out perfectly. But for you to be the guy who knew you were going to be a first rounder and said, hey, give me the ball. Like, I want to win a ring right here. I want to win a trophy was super impressive. And I'm not asking you to talk about that outing. You don't have to talk about, I wanted the ball or anything like that, or make yourself sound any better than what you already are. But talk about your thought process coming out of the pen for the first time since probably like the 3rd week of your freshman year or whatever it was. If you can remember like your emotions and all of that in that championship game, talk through that.
Well, I just remember I was sitting in the dugout and the game was getting tight. And I remember Coach B kind of being a little hesitant of, when he wanted to put me in the game. And I kept pacing back and forth, kind of going by him. I said, I'm ready. Like, whenever you need me, I'm ready. So it got to that time, and he didn't know that he was going to have to use me the next inning. So I went down there, was just kind of playing light toss. And then I started getting close to bases loaded, started getting hot. And then that atmosphere, was crazy. Like, the best atmosphere that I've ever been a part of. And coming in from the outfield, I just remember like my heart, I think my like whole body went numb for a second, just coming out of the pen. It was like Ole Miss on this side, LSU on this side, great atmosphere, two of the best college baseball fans in the SEC. And then coming in and being able to be in that moment was my favorite moment at Ole Miss by far.
Yeah, really,
I just remember
really cool.
like growing up, just like watching guys in those situations and just being able to be a part of that inning made my career there for real.
And you're typically, at least on the field, you're not a super emotional guy. Like, you don't show a ton of emotion. I don't ever remember you you would give a fist pump or whatever, but as a starter, your mindset is like you talked about what Laugh talked to you about. Hey, I'm gonna take the ball for 9 innings, and so to give a huge fist bump or anything, like any of that in the 4th inning doesn't make a ton of sense on a normal Friday night. But in that situation, you knew, hey, I got these outs to get, and you go punch out of Slaughter, punch out of Hughes.
Fastball up.
Yep, and and the emotion you showed after that was really sweet. Just because you knew, hey, these are my outs. This is the only inning I got, and this is how I'm going to help my team win. That was big time. And you're right, that atmosphere. I was lucky enough in 2011 to coach in Omaha, and that atmosphere was way better than that. And that's nothing against Omaha, but there's a lot of corporate stuff. You know, like there's a lot of people that aren't cheering for one team there. They just love the College World Series. Oh my gosh! In Hoover, it was split right down the middle, and it was I don't remember how many 13,000, and it was, I feel like it was a little over half on our side, and granted we're a little closer than Baton Rouge, and then the other half was them. And I remember before that game, it was like a college football atmosphere. It was wild.
After the anthem, they did the hotty toddy chant. It was the loudest I've ever heard it, and that was. I mean, we got off the bus, and you remember seeing like all the LSU and the Ole Miss fans tailgating, and then right when they opened up those gates, it was like, I mean, it was like a 11 or 1 o'clock game. It wasn't a late night game. That was crazy.
Yeah, it was fun. Really, really fun. All right, couple more things, more lighthearted. I've been asked to ask you, and I forgot to ask Coop about this because we got rolling. You guys had a band when you were in college, when you were at Ole Miss. You and Cooper and Greer lived together your sophomore year. Am I right so far?
Correct.
And you guys had a band of like skillets and pots and pans. And number one, who came up with that band? Number two, what role did you play in the band? Just kind of take us through all that.
It was a midweek idea. Probably should be locked into the game. It was in between innings because we would have been locked in, of course.
Wait, this was during a game?
It was in between innings. It was like the 7th inning stretch, talk like that. And so we're just like me, Cooper, and Greer sitting on the bench. And we just said we needed an escape from baseball. And I just think that we were on the same mindset of starting a band and just to get our minds off baseball when we get back. And, I mean, we went to the what is it, PM Music or something like that, down Old Taylor. And we stopped in. We were looking at some guitars and stuff. I ended up getting some drumsticks. I couldn't afford the snare at that point. And Greer ordered a keyboard. And Cooper, I'm not sure if I think his got lost in the mail or something. But anyway, we had a few practices. James was there filming our practice. And we haven't released our single yet, but maybe soon.
Looking back on that, now that you're a professional, at all embarrassed? Do you still feel good about the band? What was the band's name?
Retro Restart.
So there's some embarrassment that you guys had a living room band.
Cooper, can you help me out here, dude? He's still on here?
I think Coop's long gone.
He's long gone. But all right, it was dark times, man. I mean, we've matured since. So
good. Okay, we'll leave it at that. I can tell you're a little bit uncomfortable talking about Retro Restart.
Didn't we talk about this before?
You texted and asked me not to say anything about it, but I feel like it is my obligation to do it because that's some stuff that these people will never get. If they just listen to a normal interview with Ryan Rolison, you'll give some weird answers and be the weird left-hander, and they need to know. They need to know all this stuff. So we can end on that. Family's good? Your family's good?
We're ending on that.
Where else would you like to go?
No, it's fine.
All right. You're going to be in the big leagues? Well, it's hard. It's hard to ask that question. All right. Had no pandemic happened, do you feel like you had a legitimate shot to pitch in the big leagues this summer?
Yes, I do. The plan for me was to start in Double-A, if I got off to a good start there, maybe get, promoted to AAA, who knows what could happen from there, So, I think they view me as a priority right now. And, if I prove myself, then yes, I think there could have been a shot this year.
Do they communicate that stuff with you? Like, does any? I know obviously your agent does a good job of figuring some information out, but do the Rockies directly communicate any kind of plan with you or not?
Yeah, I think the really the only conversation about that we had is when I got sent down from big league camp. Our farm director told me he was going to start me in AA. He said, the sky's the limit from there. We're going to start you there and see what happens. So that's basically the only feedback that I've heard. But, they're not going to go out and tell a guy, what, because who knows what the season holds. So
Right. That'd be no different than us when we were recruiting you. Say, oh yeah, hey, you're going to be our Friday night guy for the first 2 years. They can't do that. I understand that. So, good. Best pitcher you have ever pitched with?
Probably that summer in the Cape with Logan Gilbert.
Yeah.
That summer was fun. It was
amazing.
Same team. It was me. Did I go out there?
Yeah, for a second.
Okay. It was me, Logan Gilbert, Daniel Lynch, first rounder. So that was a fun summer.
Yeah, that's a pretty good stat. What hitter? You mentioned struggling in inter squads. You can name one of our hitters if you'd like, but it doesn't have to be. What hitter has your number? Is there anybody? It can be college or pro ball that you're like, oh, this guy's up again. I can't get this guy
out. College, it would be Braden Shoemake. I think he's
really.
Yeah, he's
left on left too.
Yep. Usually I'm good against left-handed guys on breaking ball, but he seemed to see it well. And then pro ball so far has been Luis Camposano. He's with the Padres, but unbelievable.
Yeah.
So,
favorite teammate? You can't say. I know Golson has been your teammate for a long time. That is going to be your answer. It better be. Outside of Will Golson, I don't think you've played with Etheridge. I know he's in the Rockies organization. You've never played with him in pro ball, right?
Right.
Your favorite teammate in professional baseball?
Probably Ryan Feltner. We went to Grand Junction together. We went to Denver and signed together, and then we went to Grand Junction, and then we went to Asheville together. And then we lived together both spring training. So probably closest with him. And Riley Pint is another guy that I'm really close with. I think he was on here earlier. He left a comment.
I didn't see it. Riley Pint. Yeah.
Pint, you in here?
Pint got offered by the Rebels and turned us down. He did not end up going to college.
Nor should he have.
Right. He committed to LSU because he thought that was the cool thing to do. Should have been a Rebel. All right, we'll get over Pint. Awesome kid though. Awesome family. Favorite place to pitch in the SEC, not at home?
Definitely not South Carolina. Probably Arkansas.
Really? You know what?
It's a boombox, but I mean, it's a good park.
Yeah,
Vanderbilt was fun that Friday night too.
Oh, that's right. We crushed them that Friday night.
It was under the lights. The turf looked awesome. It was sold out crowd. It was sweet.
Yeah, we won 14-2 or something like that.
Yeah, we put the woodshed on them.
And at Arkansas, your freshman year, we won that series too, and you pitched really well.
On Sunday, right? Yeah.
That's right. We might have lost that game, but you threw really well. All right. You don't have to say, when I say favorite stadium, it doesn't mean that you pitched well there. But that's all right. All right. That's how you view it. I'm good with that. If in your 2 years, 2017 and 2018, one guy at the plate, man at second base, 2 outs. We need a hit to win. Which one of your teammates are you choosing?
Nick Fortes.
Yeah. Great pick. Can't argue with that. Would love to argue.
I mean, we got a bunch of great hitters, but, I mean, from my time there, what I saw, I would put Nick Fortes there.
Yeah. For some reason, I feel like he gets slept on a little bit, too. Like,
I do.
he was so good. So good. All right, one pitcher that's not you. If you choose a reliever, it can be to close out a game. If you choose a starter, it can be to start a game. Can't choose yourself. In your 2 years here, who do you want on the mound with the game on the line?
Game on the line. Heard a bunch of Parker Caracci answers. That's the easy one to go to. Is it to start a game or to close a game or just?
Whatever you want.
Well, I'm going to give big props to – I didn't ever play with this guy, but to see him as a freshman do what he did, Doug Nikhazy.
Yeah.
I mean –
You're not answering the question like I asked you to, because I asked which one of your teammates, and I guess you're just being too nice. All
right, one of my teammates.
But Nikhazy is really, really good. You're right. But you didn't play with him.
Feigl.
Yeah. That's a great choice, too.
His junior year was really good.
Yeah. Another guy like Fortes that probably gets slept on a little bit because you were the Friday guy. He was Saturday. He probably gets he was a reliever the year before. Am I right about all this? Yes. And electric stuff. Really, really good stuff. And a great teammate and a great leader. Yeah, really, really good choice. Really, really good choice. All right, that's what I got. Now we didn't end on retro restart. I took an hour. I took an hour of your time. We had some really, really good memories, and I appreciate you coming on here. You know I love you. Stay safe over there, and we'll talk soon.
Sounds good. Thanks,
All right,
Coach.
brother. Thanks, buddy.
Yeah.